All right, today's a big day. Monument has just released a new grill for this year, and we happen to get our hands on one. Let's check it out. Hey, welcome back everyone. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. You know, sometimes things just seem to work out. A few weeks ago, Joanne and I were snowed in this garbage winter weather we've been having. And we were thinking about how nice it'd be to be at a campsite, grilling some steaks. And I told her, I said, you know, we ought to buy a gas grill, propane grill to stick on the back porch. That way, when we can't be out camping, we can at least be out enjoying the same recipes or practicing our camping recipes. Well, a few days later, this company called Monument Grills reaches out and says, hey, we've got a new model that's coming out late winter of this year. It's a brand new thing, never been done before, and we want to see if you want to try it. Yeah, sure. I'm looking to buy one anyway. So, full disclosure, they did send this unit over for testing, but I made it very clear that I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't. And if that's not cool with them, no deal. They were on board, so let's check it out. I couldn't research it on the internet because it hadn't been released yet, so I really don't know what I'm getting other than it's stainless steel. Said it weighed 70.3 pounds on the box, and I believe it because it was heavy hauling it in here. It's got 4 burners. I think 2 are regular flame burners and 2 are infrared. So here's the difference in the burners. These 2 burners here, I'm going to call them flame burners. So if you want the flame touching the meat, that's where you want to cook. These, as I understand, are some kind of, I think they call them infrared. I see flame underneath them, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. We'll find out in a bit. But these are glowing red and looks like they're super hot. And that's for searing the meat and locking in the flavors. And then it's got a cooktop or a boiler, whatever you call it, on the side. Oh, yeah. It's got that new grill smell. Right, let's just see what's in that box of tricks. So here's our 4 burner adjustments. Those are nice and big and round. There's the 4 burners, and I can see that the 2 on the left are different than the 2 on the right. Heavy grates. Stainless steel pieces. I imagine this is part of the cabinet. We'll see how it looks when it's together. But I'll say the individual pieces look good. No way. Check this out. Am I seeing this right? The only tool it shows is a Phillips head screwdriver? Surely not. A 1-tool assembly? Heck yeah. And let's see, do I have a Phillips head? Yeah, I got some there. I've got some there. I've got some there. Listen, y'all, if I can put this whole thing together with just 1 tool, this is a big win. All right, it just shows a picture of this, and it shows just sticking these things in there. Surely it can't be that easy. Oh, that's a good sound. Step 1, complete. Set this piece in place, slide it till the slot bottom's out. So with the screws already being in place, it makes it super easy to figure out what screws you're supposed to use, huh? So I don't want to bore you with the entire build. I went ahead, jumped ahead and finished this thing off because a lot of it was just more of the same of what you've already seen. A couple things I do want to mention though. I didn't know this at first, but the instruction manual is actually written for 2 different models of this grill. So about halfway through the construction process, a couple things didn't make sense to me. The diagrams weren't really lining up, and I got to look, and it was for a different model number, so I had to skip those pages. So be aware of that. Two, when this thing ships, it has tape that holds this little hatch closed, and that tape's been there long enough that it left some residue behind it. I'm going to have to use mineral spirits or something to clean that up. The last thing that got me, a lot of these screws go in without washers, which is fine, but I got used to putting them in without washers. So when I got to the step of putting these two side wings on, they are fastened on the four corners with screws and washers, and I didn't put the washers in. And once I realized that, I had to go back and take it apart and then put the washers back in. Not a big deal, just be careful of that. The only other thing is, when I put the two doors on, which go on super easy, they weren't level with one another. And I went back in the book and looked, and there's actually an adjustment screw at the top outside corner of each door. You could loosen it up, move the little pin over a bit, put the door back in, and it'll level it up. So otherwise, a very easy build, and it really did only take one Phillips head screwdriver to do the whole process. So pretty good. So it looks like the mineral spirits work really well. I just had to use a little elbow grease there, and it came off cleanly. But if you do this, make sure you put those mineral spirits back up, because it's flammable and you sure don't want it around the grill. So I've been seeing this little chain hanging down. I was wondering what that was. Apparently, if the igniters don't work, you can put a match in the end of this thing and use that to light it with. Pretty cool. Looking at the instruction manual, it says to turn this on high for 3 to 5 minutes to do an initial burn, and that'll get rid of any kind of residue or junk that may be left over from the manufacturing process. Push this in. Oh yeah, there it went. Push the next one in just for a moment. Shoot, yeah. We're cooking with gas, son. It's been about 3 minutes. We're at almost 500 degrees. While we're waiting on this thing to burn off, and before we start cooking, let's just talk about a few of the features. It is mostly a stainless steel unit. It looks like there may be a couple pieces of powder coated. I don't know if that's powder coated over stainless steel, but this cooking area here, this prep area, I guess if you wanted to use it for that, and then the cooking area, stainless steel, nice little burner. They're nice, easy to read knobs, good and clean looking. And by the way, we're just over 650 degrees. These are magnetic, by the way, magnetic catches. Outside, you don't want dust settling on your prep table, so you can keep that folded down when you're not using it. There's a slide out drip pan right here, or a grease pan with a little tray on the bottom of it that comes out. So that's really good to catch the drippings from your food while you're cooking. Slides out the back. All right, it's been several minutes, I don't know how long. Definitely long enough to have burned it off. We're up to 700 degrees, my goodness. So looking on the inside of it, there's definitely a difference in what the burners look like on the left and the right. The ones on the left look more like a conventional burners. The two on the right with the stainless heat shields are glowing red. I'm sure that's going to transfer a whole bunch of heat into a steak to sear it, to lock in those flavors. And looking on the front of the grill, you can see two regular knobs, a regular section on the left, and what they call a broil zone on the right for those two super hot burners. So there appears to be two schools of thought on how to use a broil zone on a grill. Some people passionately say you're supposed to sear a steak and then move it to the other side and cook it. Some people say you're supposed to cook it and then move it to the other side to sear it at the end. So the arguments for both are pretty good. At this point, I'm a little stuck on which way to go. What do you think? How do you cook a steak if you're going to sear it? Put something in the comments below and let us know how you do it. All right, so enough talk. Now let's get down to grilling some food. That's what this whole thing is about. The first star of the show are Joanne's world famous baked beans. I'm not sure what all's in there. I know it's got beans and peppers and onions, molasses, and all kinds of good stuff. So we'll be cooking these on the side burner. We've got corn on the cob, and I'm not going to tell you the brand of these hot dogs right yet. I'll let this out in a later video. These are money, absolutely money. Got some pork loin and some steaks down here, and we're going to try this dude out and see what it does. I've read everywhere you're supposed to sear first and not. I don't know. I'm going to sear one and not sear one, and then swap them around at the end. See what happens. So, sear, no sear. Sear, no sear. And I'll just put the hot dogs over here, over the regular portion of the grill. That's a lot of food, and I've still got room left. So for this first test, I'm just running everything on high. I've got the temperatures maxed out all the way across. Probably not the way to do it, but it's the way I'm doing it right now. So I've got my tongs hanging on this little thing on the edge. That's pretty handy. So let me flip these over. Oh yeah. Now here's one thing that I don't like. It's a little hard to get back there with these tongs. And these tongs are somewhat standard tongs. So this shelf is a little bit low. I'm not real wild about that. So this thing here puts out a ton of heat. Even on low, it puts out a lot. So, which is good. At least you've got plenty of heat. Just be mindful of that so you don't burn your beans. You'll need to keep them stirred frequently. So these have been on here the entire time on one side, and this is how dark brown the streaks are. These have only been on this one side for a couple minutes, and you see how dark brown these are. So this got quite a bit hotter, which is what it's supposed to do. Now I've had this thing open shooting video, so I've let a lot of heat out on my corn. So I am probably going to go ahead and move it down to the burner to speed that up. Normally I wouldn't have to do that, but normally I'm not shooting video when I'm cooking either. Oh, what a pity. One of the wieners broke. I may as well just go ahead and eat it. Shut up. Just shut up. I absolutely love when the outside starts to get caramelized. I stabbed this one. It's 170 degrees, and so is this. So I'm going to pull those out. I'm going to let the steak sit just a tiny bit longer. We turned these off a little while ago. They're good and hot. So the baked beans are done. The pork and the hot dogs are done. These just hit 160. So they're the temperature I want them to be. Gosh, those look juicy. Nice and caramelized on the outside. So if you remember, I had the corn up top at first, and I said I wouldn't put black bits on it. But the more I got seeing those on the steaks, the more I thought, man, I need to do that to the corn too. All right, so here's the moment I've been waiting for. The grill's cool and all, but this is what it's all about. Joanne's behind the camera, so she's having to watch me eat. That's kind of cruel, I think, in a way. Baked beans. My goodness. My goodness. All right, I like my steak medium well. Got just a touch of color, which is what I want. I don't like my steak bleeding. Goodness. It's ridiculous. And the corn can be good, but it can be sketchy too. Perfectly done. The sugars in it have caramelized. It's a good meal. If this is any indication of what we'll continue to get out of this thing, it's good. So what do I think about the Mesa II grill from Monument Grills? model number 415BZ. I like it. I genuinely like it. Joanne was behind the camera when I was cooking. She was pretty impressed with it. It's got heavy-duty cast iron grates, the broil zone, the right 2 burners. Those dudes get hot. I mean hot. So it's great for searing meat, great for cooking things fast. Stainless steel construction. The casters lock. I really like it. I think it's a well-built unit. I mean, I put it together myself, so I know how it's made. And yeah, I like it. As far as drawbacks, I want to be honest with you. I like the heat that this little side burner puts out, but I will say when you turn it all the way down on low, it really needs to be able to go just even lower than that. Because even on low, it was trying to burn the baked beans. So if you need it to boil something, if you're gonna have a shrimp boil, something like that, it's perfect. But if you need to run it on low, you may want to be careful. The last thing is this little removable tray inside. This little stainless steel tray. I'm not wild about that. It's probably good for what it's for, but it's hard to get underneath when you're wanting to flip some meat over. So I don't know, I may take it out. Not a deal breaker by any stretch. Way more things I do like about it than what I don't. I like the little red band around the thermometer. I don't know why, they just does it for me. And the nice clean big knobs that have the igniters in them. Would I recommend this? Yeah, I believe I would. What research I've done, Monument Grills looks like a pretty legit company, and this looks like a nice product. So yeah, I'd say if you're in the market for what they call a budget grill, this will be one to check out. So hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully it's helpful to you if you're looking at grills. I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want to come back, hit subscribe. So until next time, take care. We'll see you on the road.